Hey y'all, today I'm going to talk about why healing attachment wounds is essential for healthy love. If you find yourself in a pattern of toxic, unhealthy relationships, then this video is for you. I'm going to help you understand why this happens and where this comes from. Hi, it's Twana Michelle, mental health therapist and certified clinical trauma therapist. And today, already told you the title, we're going to be talking about attachment wounds and how this plays such a critical role in your relationships, in your selection of partners, in the dynamic of your relationships, and the patterns, why we stay in some of those unhealthy relationships, how we create or recreate these patterns ourselves. If you ever find yourself in situations over and over where you're either choosing the wrong partner, meaning someone who is toxic, maybe you overlook the red flags, maybe you don't see them, maybe it's been normalized, or you may find yourself even maybe giving a healthier partner a chance and still sabotaging those relationships, pushing people away, struggling with high anxiety, fear of loss and abandonment, and then you start behaving differently in a way that changes the whole dynamic of the relationship. And sometimes we even create this self-fulfilling prophecy where we end up creating the very thing that we say we don't want. We end up creating that abandonment that we're afraid of. We end up creating this pattern of high tension and conflict that we say we don't want in our relationships. We end up creating detachment and distance, which makes us feel unloved and unworthy, but we keep creating it. So we both choose partners who will participate in this with us, and we also unconsciously recreate these patterns. It doesn't mean that something's wrong with us for doing this. It just means that we have suffered some attachment wounds early in our relationships, in our lives with our primary caregivers. We didn't quite get what we needed. We needed love. We needed safety. We need security. We needed these things unconditionally and didn't quite get them. So not only did we not get them and there was now a void, but we also learned that this is what love looks like, right? It's inconsistent. It is hurtful. It has to be earned. I have to be worthy of it. It can be taken away at any moment. It's not unconditional. And we take these ideas into our adult lives and we choose romantic partners like this. We choose platonic relationships, friendships like this. So we surround ourselves with people who reflect our beliefs about relationships and what they're supposed to look like, even if we don't like it. But it doesn't mean something's wrong with you. Again, it means you have attachment wounds that can be healed and need to be healed so that you can interrupt this pattern. So one of the main problems with unhealthy attachments and not getting our attachment needs early in our lives in childhood from these primary caregivers is that we sort of have to make sense of it. And so we can't see these caregivers as bad or wrong or flawed. So we have to see something wrong with ourselves, right? So we internalize this lack and mistreatment and we make it about us, right? So we develop these core beliefs about ourselves. We have these emotional imprints based on these circumstances where we start to believe things like, I am unworthy, I am unlovable, nobody cares about me, I have to earn love, I have to be good enough. We know the challenge with that one, the struggle. I have to be good enough, but I'm not good enough. I have to try and earn this person's love and respect. The more I try to earn it from the person who can't give it, the more it reaffirms my own belief about myself that I'm just not enough. And we just get caught in that cycle over and over and over. And you can't do anything in that particular relationship, in that same dynamic, with that same belief about yourself and that same partner and expect to get a positive result. It's just not going to happen. Let's look at some of our beliefs about relationships. People aren't trustworthy. People are always going to hurt me. People are going to leave me. So when I have a belief that I'm not enough and I have a belief that I can't trust people, how am I going to have a healthy relationship? It's impossible. I'm just going to keep cycling through relationships that confirm my own beliefs because I'm unconsciously choosing that in a partner and I am unconsciously recreating that dynamic. All of these beliefs, they become like the lens for how we see love, for how we see relationships. And it's not always easy to change that, but it is possible. And if you want a healthy relationship, you kind of have to change that, and you have to heal that original wound. So let's talk a little bit more about how these attachment wounds may show up in relationships. You may have high anxiety, like debilitating anxiety. If your partner leaves and you don't know where they are, if you don't get a text back, immediately you start to really worry. You start to catastrophize. You start to think the worst. You start to think, oh, they don't love me. Oh, they're going to leave me. And so you have this high anxiety. You have this extreme fear of loss and abandonment. You may also become more clingy. You may find yourself really clinging to this person, really wanting to attach to them, kind of abandoning yourself because you want to spend all your time with them. You want to be with them all the time to ensure that they're there and they're not going to leave you. You may become more codependent and try to control the relationship, control the person, control the outcome. You may find yourself doing a lot of people-pleasing types of things, constantly seeking their approval, constantly seeking validation from them. And of course, to no avail. All of these things that you're doing are in hopes of really feeling this secure safety that you need in a relationship, but you're going about it the wrong way. And likely you're with someone who may not be able to give that to you. You may also find yourself just completely shutting down in the relationship, completely retreating, withdrawing into yourself. I find that this tends to happen more when we've tried all of the above, all the things that I mentioned. I tried everything, right, to try and earn the love that I need and feel secure and safe in this relationship, and nothing's really working. So now I'm going to shut down. So this is where I've just completely checked out. I'm feeling hopeless. I'm feeling powerless. I'm feeling helpless. At this point, my wound is really activated. I'm really sitting in that space of emotional pain, and I'm really believing all of those faulty beliefs about myself, that I'm just not lovable. No one's gonna love me. No one's gonna give me what I need. I can't trust anyone. People will hurt me. So when you're in that shutdown stage, you are really in that activated wound state. Attachment wounds can also show up as avoidance. Sometimes we actually, want the intimacy, we want the love, but we actually fear it. Going back to that belief, I can't trust people. They're gonna hurt me. People are gonna leave me. So it creates a lot of fear, and we actually avoid, the very thing that we say that we want. Think about attachment styles. There are anxious attachment, there's avoidant attachment, there's secure attachment, there's disorganized attachment. We can experience all of the above depending on the relationship and depending on how threatened we feel and just where we are in that fight or flight response. We tend to have a predominant, one that we identify with, but we can experience them all. If I'm in a relationship and I feel threatened, there are times where I may feel really anxious and I'm clingy and I'm trying to get this person's attention, and I feel scared. And there may be times where I'm in more of a flight state and I'm avoiding, and I am just keeping my distance, and I'm just kind of watching, and I'm protecting myself emotionally. And then there are times when things are good, I might be feeling a little bit more secure, and I might be feeling avoidant and anxious, kind of going back and forth, which is the disorganized. It's really about recognizing when those attachment wounds are showing up behaviorally, when those attachment wounds are creating patterns in relationships, and noticing it. Practicing mindfulness and noticing, and having compassion for that part of yourself. That is so important. Having compassion for that part of yourself can help avoid that shame and that inner critic that keeps you stuck in that cycle that makes you feel worse. You're really just activated, you feel threatened, and your nervous system is just trying to protect you. And it does its job, right? It protects the self, but it creates unhealthy, damaging, toxic relationships. So if we don't heal that, then this is what we're going to repeatedly find ourselves in. Let's talk about the benefits of healing these attachment wounds. I'm not going to talk about how, because there's another video coming up that will give you more insight into how you can work on healing these wounds, okay? But let's talk about what happens when the wound is healed. And the reason this is important, when my attachment wound is healed, then I feel safe being vulnerable in my relationship. I'm not afraid to take risk. I can access my emotions and I can share them with my partner. I can communicate effectively and openly and directly without a fear that something bad's going to happen. It's going to lead to a huge fight or this person's going to leave me. Now, that doesn't mean these things don't happen in relationships. It means I let go of the fear of that. I understand that relationships can be painful. Yes, relationships can be difficult, but unless there's like abuse, right? The relationship isn't really life-threatening. It feels like that to the unhealed person, but in reality, it's not. Once it's healed, you're able to recognize, I really love this relationship. I want it to work. I feel safe enough doing what I need to do to try to contribute to that. But if it doesn't, I'm fine. I'm going to be okay, right? I'm going to grieve. I'm going to feel sad. My world is not over. If this person leaves me, abandons me, yeah, very painful experience to be abandoned by someone you love. It's not life-threatening. But to someone with unhealed attachment trauma, it feels life-threatening. It's not. So healing these attachment wounds also helps us better radically accept relationships not working out. Sometimes it's just not the right person. We're not compatible. The relationship has run its course. There are dynamics that are no longer acceptable to us, and we got to let it go and get to a place of being okay with letting it go. So the important thing is to have the awareness of what's happening, to be self-aware and notice when these attachment wounds are showing up in your relationships. That's the first place to start. Having the self-awareness, being mindful and noticing. When we can notice and call it what it is, it helps us kind of take a step back and not be in it, right? We can be with it and observe it and notice it, but we're not being in it. So we're less activated, which gives us an opportunity to respond differently. Don't try to do it on your own. Get a mental health professional, get a therapist to help you with this. I would definitely recommend that. If you don't know where to start, that's the first place to start. Get with a therapist who can help you with this. If you stick with it, I think you'll find it to be life-changing. You deserve to get to a place where you know that you deserve love and you deserve to experience safe love and you deserve to be healed and you know your worth and you know your value and you're not threatened and activated by relationships in your life. You deserve to get to that place. And so having someone help you do that, I think is an amazing experience for you. Give yourself permission to heal. Give yourself permission to go through that process of working on yourself, going back to those old wounds and really healing so that not only you can have healthier relationships in your life, but so that you're not holding on to the pain, holding on to the fear, and having these wounds activated repeatedly over and over in relationships. And that is a pattern that you can change when you are ready to heal. So if this video resonates with you, why don't you go ahead and give it a like? It really does help my channel. Share it with someone else that may benefit from hearing about this topic. Subscribe if you are not already a part of our community. And let me know in the comment section, what's one way that your attachment wounds have been affecting you? And one way that you found yourself starting to heal from that. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye.